It's another peaceful day in Tokyo. I'm sure nothing bad has happened. Never mind. Well, that's 2 killings. Oh. Oh, it's not Edgewood again, is it? February 22nd, 10 a.m. Wright and Co. law offices. There you are, finally. Where have you been? Who are you? Doesn't matter who I am, it only matters who you are. The famous defense attorney, Mia Fey. Do you not read, like, the news? Oh. Wait a minute. You're not a corpse. Please, you have to help. It's my sister. Okay, I'll hear you out. Really? Thank you so much. My name's Emma Sky. I'm a scientific investigator. I'll be 16 years old this year. Oh, I see. Wait, only 16? Well, legally speaking, I guess you'd call me an 11th grader. But I'm ready to do my job, at my age no less. Let's get involved with the court system. Legally a child still. My sister didn't do it. She wouldn't stab someone with a knife. She wouldn't. So it's a murder case. I don't care if there's a witness who saw her do it. She didn't do it. And there's a witness. Just talk to her. You have to talk to her. Right? I suppose I will. If this case is handled scientifically, I'm sure my sister's name will be cleared. Emma, I don't know if you saw the last trial. I kind of just winged it against Von Karma. I'll be honest with you, we didn't have much of a case. Like, what do you mean by science? Guard, I thought I told you I didn't want visitors. Sorry, ma'am, it's just your sister. Did you not want to raise this year, I understood, ma'am. What was all that about? My God, she doesn't have a face. I'll be the one in court tomorrow. This has nothing to do with you, Emma. She's not just hair! Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? I'm sorry, what exactly is it that you do? My name is Lana Sky. I'm chief prosecutor for this district. You're a prosecutor? The suspect in this case has confessed to the crime. Huh? Wait, but the suspect is... It's you, isn't it? That's right, Mr. Wright. I'm guilty. I did the murder. The crime took place yesterday, February 21st at 5:15 p.m. That's quite specific. A witness clearly saw me committing the crime. That was a bit of bad luck, wasn't it? Oh, you didn't think that one true there, Lana. You know, you gotta plan your murders better. The crime took place in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. The body was found in the trunk of my subordinate's car. So who was the victim? Investigator with the police department. I suppose the correct term is detective. The police department will consider it a matter of pride to have me found guilty. They will use any means at their disposal to do so. The case gets worse and worse with everything I learn. What happened to your hand? Oh, this? I cut myself by accident. When I stabbed him, that is. But she is still confessing to the crime. I don't have much of a chance here. You were in school with Mia, correct? 2 years above her. It was in law school. I was in my 3rd year, and she was an oddity in the class. She was different than the other students. Different. She was strong. She'd do anything to become a defense attorney. She'd kill a man to become a defense attorney. She committed so many crimes. She cheated on every exam. That was probably why she was attracted to me. Excuse me? Intellectually attracted, Lana was top of her class in school. God forbid it's any other kind of attraction that might scare fragile white men in our society. You never think of anyone but yourself. I know you didn't do it, Lana. I know. So how can you say you did? I hate you, Lana. Don't leave me. You're the worst. Please don't abandon me. I fucking hate you. To go die. I believe our discussion here is ended. The rest, I leave to you. You mean you're requesting my services as your defense? Don't lose any sleep over it. Your client has confessed after all. The case is over. Right, I'll do what I can to get to the bottom of this. Hey everyone, keep up the good work. Hey, what are you thinking? Well, they're going to be my co-workers 3 years from now after all. No harm in saying hello. Actually, there is. You know, attorneys aren't supposed to examine crime scenes. It hasn't stopped me in like the past 4 crimes in this game, but alrighty then. Expecting to go unnoticed here, partner. Partner? What? It's a cowboy. Folks gotta learn to keep them doggies tied down, partner. Mr. Marshall! What? Why is he shaving himself? This is our claim, our territory, with a mother load of evidence. You're fixing the mess with what's ours. You'll regret it, partner. You head along home now. Happy trails, Bambina. This is a .44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world. Well, what an inconspicuous wallet here. What's this? A wallet? Excuse me, officer. Wait, what are you doing, Mr. Wright? What am I doing? I just found this wallet, so I'm handing it over to the police. Let's be scientific about this, please. Just put it in your pocket. She's making me steal everything just like Maya did. I'm called to duty already, and at my tender age. Here, I'll teach you the trick to examining evidence in detail, okay? Oh shit, wait, we get the... It's 3D now. The technology has improved. Let's open the wallet. This is an ID card. Sergeant Bruce Goodman. Goodman's ID added to the court record. Investigator's ID card found at the prosecutor's office. Let's be sure to examine every piece of evidence we find. This is where the cars leave the lot. The arrow on the ground makes it look more like an entrance. What are you talking about? It's plainly an exit. Well, maybe it's both, kind of a dual purpose. Aha! Theory of relativity! Maybe you know, was Mr. Relativity German or was he British? Mr. Relativity. Are you sure that was his name? Yeah, you know, when you call someone a genius, you're such a relativity. It's actually quite insulting, isn't it? Like, wow, that guy's so smart. Look at Mr. Relativity here. Feels kind of degrading. Einstein who? Like, why couldn't they say Einstein? Like, was there fear, like, copyright? Like, what, is he gonna fucking come back from the dead? Albert Relativity. The fucking white lines. Do they still bother with the tape if it's not like a flat surface? Like, that can't be right. You'd best be moseying along. Unless you're fixing to bite the bullet. Gah, scary. Could you just tell us one thing? Who owns that car? Get yourself to the saloon up on the 12th floor of the prospector's office. Might just find you a crevasse you like. Prospector's office? What does this guy think he is? And when, for that matter? In any case, stay away from the car. You can look around here all you like. Just keep your paws off our claim. Right, great. Oh, this is someone else entirely. Okay, what voice do we give her? Very strong Irish accent. Ashley Jesus, top of the morning. Hello, half and half now, was it? This area's off limits to anyone without clearance now. Especially passers-by. Or are you officers? No, but you don't exactly look the type to have clearance. But it's hardly a way to greet someone now. Even if my days as the cough-up queen are over. Cough-up? Huh? I'm quite connected to this case, you see. The images are burned into my eyes, you might say. Yes, all the sordid secrets. You mean you're the witness my sister was talking about? Ah, please, cough-up queen, tell us what happened. Oh, wait, no, that... Oh, Jesus, I'm very confused now. I'm adapting the accent as well. Ah, cough-up queen, could you share the story with us? What's the deal? The name's Angel Star. Don't you go forgetting it now. Or before you know it, I'll have you whimpering at my heels. Ah, you don't want to fuck with me now. You're a defense attorney, right? You should know them. You should know that the foul misdeeds of the evil ones who haunt this den of inequality. Evil ones? Prosecutors. They have no qualms at all about blacking in the name of innocence. And yesterday they paid homage to the most evil one of all, I tells you. They gave an award for King of Prosecutors. What a farce. Do you have a personal grievance against prosecutors or something? Or is there some kind of scientific evidence of this, evil? Ah, young miss. Mock me at your own risk. You better take me very seriously what I have to say, but Jesus. Or you'll find out why they call me the cough-up queen. Ew. My boyfriend works in the security room here at the prosecutor's office. Your boyfriend? See the security room over there now? The glass is wall boot. I sell my lunches, and since I'm here anyway, I drop in to see him. Wait, can I examine my badge? Yeah, it's like... What is the attach? It screws on. What, like to my suit? Like, that's not even a pin. There's just like an insert in my body where it just fits. I just spin that in. Phoenix is a robot. Is this Edgeworth's office? That's his clothes, like, pinned on the wall. Look, look! There's a trophy or something here. A trophy? What, that shield? It takes real nerve to display stuff like this. Whoever's office this is, they must be a real stuck-up jerk. Phoenix Wright. It is his office! Long time no see, Edgeworth. Oh! Mr. Edgeworth! You know him from somewhere. Of course, I'm his biggest fan. My sister introduced us once and... Right, your sister is the chief prosecutor after all. We're just here to investigate a murder case. Murder? A body was found in this nasty bright red sports car in the parking lot. That would be my car. What of it? Oh no! Edgeworth, why was there a body in your car? Oh no, did he murder again? I mean, it was my sister who stabbed him. Wait, no, she didn't do that. I mean... Jesus, I hope we're not against Edgeworth in the trial, because that's gonna be pretty bad. I think we just got a confession. I'll admit, it was a surprise for me too. To think that my own car will become the scene of a murder. More surprising still, I'm being forced to prove my superior's guilt. I can understand. Wait, what did you say? Oh no, we are against Edgeworth. She can't prosecute herself, so I'll be the prosecutor at the trial tomorrow. You, Mr. Edgeworth? Oh no, you prosecutor Sky. Yes, we worked together on a case 2 years ago. It was my first big case. Since then, I always felt that she was looking out for me. It appears I was mistaken. Mistaken? Why? I mean, I know she's not the warmest person, but I'm sure she felt some responsibility for you. Why'd she stab someone in the trunk of my car? Not only that, she stabbed him with my knife. Edgeworth, if Lana didn't do this, like, this is looking really bad for you. Are you sure you didn't do it? He doesn't like that question. This must be the victim's blood, right? Either that or Edgeworth cut himself peeling an apple. I'm looking forward to this refreshing snack in the afternoon. Oh! I've been wondering, what the heck is this? There's a big K on it. It's the King of Prosecutors trophy. King of Prosecutors? Kind of like Employee of the Month, only better. King of Prosecutors trophy. Apparently, that's going to be important evidence. It looks like the names of all the previous recipients are engraved on it. Wow, one guy's listed a bunch of times. Von Karma. I guess he must be a foreigner. Yeah, that's probably it. Well, wherever he's from, he must have been an amazing prosecutor. Yes, for you see, it was I who was the King of Prosecutors. I won the award to turn your assistant against you, Phoenix. He has fallen for my dastardly plan. The K stood for karma all along. It was I who designed the trophy. Yesterday was the annual cleaning day at the prosecutor's office. Cleaning day? Working with the police department, we sort and file all evidence for solved cases. We call it evidence transferal. I was at the police department yesterday afternoon. I got back here at 5:12. That's very precise. People like myself and Mr. Edgeworth pride ourselves on their precision, Mr. Wright. No, I place little faith in my memory. The only thing I trust is solid evidence. Parking stub. I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got your report, sir. Report? What? Did you find any new evidence in the case against Chief Prosecutor Sky? I don't like the way this conversation is going at all. Sky, sir? No, sir. No name of that kind, sir. Not in this report, sir. I made a clear request to the police department, did I not? I need to focus on the trial tomorrow, so don't bring me anything unrelated. Sir, but sir, I'm just following orders, sir. They told me to bring this to you, sir. I wasn't aware of the particulars of your arrangement with us, sir. Give me your name. Yes, sir. Meekins, sir. Officer Meekins. Right, Officer Meekins, take your report and leave. And good luck with that raise next month. Oh shit. Edgeworth's gonna leave like a bad review. Go down to the police department. You can ask more there. Thanks. Seems to have finally calmed down at least. Oh, we're outside it this time. We don't get to go in yet. I think he's seen better days. Hold on, what's that? Disturbing. Why does it undulate like that? Holy shit. This might be the most animation we've seen in the entire game. It's the murderer. This is the Blue Badger. They're trying to make him the police mascot. Someone appears to be dancing with the Blue Badger. Uh-oh, he noticed me. Sure is running over here fast. Hey, pal. What are you doing here? Good to see you back, Gumshoe. What, the dancing Blue Badger? It's my masterpiece. Oh no, not again. But you made this, Detective Gumshoe. Did they just have a day in the office where, like, there was no cases, so it was fucking arts and crafts? Like, you're supposed to be a detective, it's crime. Yeah, today the police are off duty, because, you know, they're gonna build a desk from IKEA. Don't commit any crimes. We're busy. Blue Badger panel added to the court record. What are you doing here, Detective Gumshoe? Me? Oh, well, nothing, really. They kicked me out of criminal affairs. Wait, what? They're not letting any of us rank and file detectives in at all. None of you? I know this is an important trial, but isn't that a little odd? So anyway, I thought I'd spend the day getting the Badger dance down pat. Detective Gumshoe, is there nothing better you could be doing than just dancing with the mascot? Like, why don't you just go home? Like, go play video games or something, go read a book. Why aren't you handling the case, Detective Gumshoe? We met the guy who is. What was his name? The guy in the parking lot. That would be Officer Marshall. He was appointed directly by the Chief of Police. Show him this and they'll let you examine the crime scene. Maybe. A letter of introduction. It's a letter of introduction from Detective Gumshoe. Maybe we investigate. Gumshoe. Ah, that old cow dog. He holding a birthday party or something? Look, where it should say letter of introduction. It says invitation. Ah, I think he just miswrote it. Wait, why am I getting all defensive here? No worries. This proves it's from Detective Gumshoe, better than a blood test. Guess I better let you in then. This looks like a cell phone. Scientific analysis would suggest this belonged to the victim. This phone's still on the redial screen. Redial? Mr. Wright, most phones keep a record of all the calls you've made and received. You just press the blue button to display the last number you called. Oh, it's the samurai theme. Hey, what's going on over here? Oh, sorry. I see you, partner. You pressed redial on that there phone, didn't you? Well, yeah. Whose phone is this anyway? It was on the ground over there. Whose is it? That belonged to Chief Prospector Sky. What? It's my sister's? You apparently dropped her when she was taken into custody, right after the crime. Look, the last call was made right when the murder occurred. Looks like she was fixing to call someone. Except she only spoke for a few seconds according to this. Who did she call? No idea. Sorry, partner. Property of Lana Sky, last call made at 5:18 on the day of the murder. Okay, let's keep examining. What's this? Looks like a note of some sort. Look, something's written on it. 675-12-2. 67S-12-2. Goodman. Maybe it fell out of his pocket when he was killed. Well, so, what does it mean, Mr. Wright? How am I supposed to know? This here's the autopsy report. Goodman's autopsy report added to the court record. Death due to loss of blood, 1 knife wound. Died within an hour and a half of 4 p.m. Oh, by the way, Emma. Yeah? I know that song your phone plays when it rings. What? Ringing again. It's the Steel Samurai theme song, isn't it? A popular TV show for kids. 5:18, just after the murder took place. Your sister called you, didn't she, Emma? Can you tell me what you talked about? She hung up right away. I see. Cell phone updated in the court record. This was after the murder. Wait, did you talk? Got a bad feeling about this. Like, maybe I still don't know everything that went on here. I think we've done the first investigation. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. You ordered a caviar lunch, right? Oh, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before. The judge was really wolfing it down. Jesus, and for you now I have a Fiesta Bowl. Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession? And for you, sir. Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? Name, profession, now. Me, the name's Angel Star. Don't go forgetting it now. I am a professional. Uh-huh? What exactly does that mean? Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Starr was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective. What? Miss Starr was a detective? Ah! I know who you are! Cough up! Cough up Queen Angel Starr, Your Honor. Long time no see. It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. I'll proceed to crush with little hope they have remaining. If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Starr. This judge is terrible. I hate him. Goofy judge needs to be sacked. Somehow I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garage car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into the Detective Goodman's chest. I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. Laid off? She was fired. To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless. I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed. A photograph! You took this! The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap, I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunch boxes is rigged with a camera. Prosecutor Skye was cold, calculating like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. Premeditated? How do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph. Well, are those gloves? Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves. Witness, do you know what this is? Are you trying to test me? I sell boxed lunches for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. Indeed, it is my knife. What's with this case? The bloody murder weapon. A red car. All belong to the prosecutor there. It is a real bad image for Edgeworth, isn't it? Mommy, are the prosecutors bad people? We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony. What's that, rookie? In your testimony, you state that Lana Skye planned this murder, and that's why she was wearing those special gloves. However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing? The murder weapon. Oh. This knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon. Ask Edgeworth there. He knows. Sure, the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge a knife in again and again. Okay, well, there's the contradiction. Autopsy report, it was one stab wound. You say she stabbed him again and again. But you couldn't have witnessed that. Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise. Are you even allowed to bring food into a courtroom? The autopsy report states that death was due to the loss of blood from one stab wound. Aha! You're right! Good show, Mr. Edgeworth. What a hunk. He's my hero, really. What about my objection? No one noticed. Well, witness? This is in poor taste. When she lifted her knife, I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice. Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify. A red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. Red muffler. Yes, like a scarf. The chief prosecutor always wears one around her neck. She can be easily hanged at a moment's notice, I suppose. Well, people often mistake my beard for blood. I'm not sure where I'm going with this analogy. For a bit? What? The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it yourself. With this photograph. Huh? But that can't be. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that. Very well. I do remember some things accurately at least. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. But you didn't, because you're on the other side of the fence. But there was a chain link fence in front of you. I went over it, of course. Amazing! The cough-up queen, lunch lady athlete indeed. Oh, she just scale it? It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, but she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast. She even kicked over an oil drum at me. There was an oil drum lying on its side at the scene of the crime. But it's strange. Oh, what's that? If she wanted to escape, why didn't she run the other way? The parking lot entrance. That's right. It doesn't make any sense that she would run from behind the partition to the oil drums. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That seems like an odd detail. You mentioned the muffler. What exactly did she say? If I remember exactly, I would have told you in my testimony. Cheeky. Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler. Just that one word. So what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else. Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone. Chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall. On the wall? That's right, near the car. There was an emergency phone on the wall. Apparently it was out of order. Oh, how the fuck could she see the phone? It's a partition. Miss Starr, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lana Skye. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, that's true. You couldn't possibly have seen Miss Skye making that phone call. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it. What? What? Order! Order! What is the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch. She's coughing up lies. The place from where Miss Starr witnessed the crime was here. Well, the security room kind of makes sense because maybe she was already seeing the boyfriend. It would explain how she got the photo if she just had a camera. Try it. This is the only place where she could have been. I was bringing up a PB&J, peanut butter and jelly lunch with fresh boysenberry jam. Wait, okay, so it's peanut butter, PB&J, but it's boysenberry. So that's a BB&J. It's not peanut butter. Your Honor, there's a glaring contradiction with the witness's testimony. Specify the kind of sandwich that you were bringing your boyfriend. What is the meaning of this, witness? Why did you lie about the kind of sandwich you were providing? This is irrelevant to the case. There was a murder. I disagree, Edgeworth. Because the type of jam could have hit the blood. Ah, sure, go fuck yourself, Phoenix. I'm getting sick of this now. I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. That is a long way to run. It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime. 5 minutes? But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork. You have a point. And the spork is a wonderful... What does this have to do with anything? If you were a criminal, what would you do with your 5 minutes, Your Honor? Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey! Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone. Your Honor, I think you were the killer. Miss Skye dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable. Well then, it seems we come to the end of this testimony. Witness has a grudge against the defendant and a blank in her testimony. Now I'm afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned. Oh, we're just wrapping up for the day. No, of course we're not. I have decisive evidence. What was that? What was that? Court was adjourned? Well, I think I missed the part when I said that. I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? Oh. 2 types of blood were found on his shoe. One was of course the victim's. And the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Miss Lana Skye. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there is one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction. The problem lies in the footprint. The footprint. Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found by the scene of the crime? Aha! As you can see, There were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about this shoe. The barrel was knocked over, so it would have washed something away. Oh no, people are doing like the think meme. The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. Water? What does that mean? Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her. Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial. Mr. Wright, do something, please. Why is the judge, like in all of this, is like, oh, that's a shocking revelation that the witness would try to cover up the scene of the crime. Well, guess we can wrap up now. No further developments here. But Angel Starr is on the prosecution's side. She could have been lying about the water. This court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky. Of fucking course. Little girl, what did you just say? Did you say that I, Angel Starr, was on the prosecution's side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. I thought you'd had your fill, but here you are demanding a second helping. If I just shut my fucking gob, I could walk away scot-free here. But let me keep talking and maybe I'll incriminate myself. Look at this. Oh my god, there's another photo. Why is she doing... Like, did she walk out with a camera after all this? Right. Wet or not, don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Okay, at least maybe with her ghost coming back this time, she didn't just come back and say, like, the murderer, it was Von Karma, and then just disappear. Like... Your Honor, wait. What is it with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? He's lost control of his court. So, Wright, are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? Yeah. I have no fucking idea what it is, though. The muffler. Do you see that? The muffler. There's something in it. The problem in this photograph is here. What's this? There's something poking out of the car's muffler. Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of evidence cloth is vital evidence. Oh! Well, it seems that the witness died in the stand. I'm not really sure what happened there. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed? I suppose so. This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime after all. At trials always like this with you. Like you're swimming up from the bottom of a lake about to reach the surface. But no matter how hard you paddle, you never seem to get there. Pretty much. Except at the very end, spirits from beyond the grave come down from heaven, hand me the paddle, and I'm able to get myself out of it. Basically, I'm kind of counting on that last part, or I'm in a lot of trouble come the end. Okay, well, half an hour's gone. We got no new evidence. I'd like to resume? Can I call for a vote of no confidence in the judge? What's up? The judge keeps looking over at the prosecution. Oh, is something wrong, Mr. Edgeworth? Your face is blue. Your lips are purple. You're sweating bullets. That furrowed brow, those grinded teeth, those watery eyes. What's more, your eyes are unfocused. You're doubled over. Your back is bent. You appear to be within an inch of your life, Mr. Edgeworth. Jesus, you're falling apart at the seams. Your spine just snapped. Your eyes are falling out of your sockets. Did you just vacate your bowels, Edgeworth? Oh no, his limbs are starting to pop off. Excuse me, knock knock. Who's there? What? You can't just walk into the courtroom. Who the fuck is this? Sorry, but who are you? So you're Wright, the attorney. I've heard good things about you, son. Mr. Wright! You don't know the district chief of police? Chief of police? He's a top-ranking police official in the entire district. Name's Gant. Damon Gant. Pleased to meet you, everyone. I just thought I'd help out by bringing this. Hey, that's my sister's muffler. What's this? What you call a switchblade knife. Quite perplexing, this. The court accepts this new evidence But I'd like to ask the defense a favor first. Yes? Just to be sure, I'd like to take a look at at the blade of this knife. The blade, Your Honor? Well, I don't see why not. Could you open it up for me, I wonder? If I cut my finger, Mr. Wright, I won't be able to pat my gavel anymore. Yeah, but if I cut my finger, I won't be able to point at people anymore. Come on, just hurry up and open it. So, I don't know why it's not opening. Ah, don't scare me like that. Look at this knife blade. The tip is broken off. And this dark red stain. Blood? No, that's just some steak sauce from the lunch lady. This knife is special, but I can't say how here. Unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and the Goodman. That was a bad day for the police department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. A detective was killed at the police department. See, what a mess. The time of the crime, 5:15. Scary coincidence, eh? Two detectives killed at the same time in two different places. The chances of that are really slim. Scientifically speaking, of course. Look at the tag on this knife. It reads SL92. And this is important, why? Over here we also have a memo that was on the body of the victim. What's this? 6 minus 7S 12-2. Your Honor, it's upside down. Ah! Whoever wrote this note was holding the paper upside down. This knife was evidence in the case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room. Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you one thing and one thing only. Wait, what? But this is all important information for the case. I think where the victim was found is the most important one. How the victim was killed, we kind of know that from the knife. When they died, it was the same day. Where the victim was found. Can't speak on where the corpse was found, but I can say the crime took place in the evidence room at the police department. The evidence room? Wait a second. I have heard of that. The evidence room? Didn't he mention that in his testimony just now? Right, yeah, so that it was stolen from the department's evidence room. There's the connection between the two cases. You seem happy, Mr. Wright. Happy? Happy? We just got handed our ticket to go to town in this case. The knife found in the lot was stolen from the police department's evidence room. Not to mention the victim had on him the case number on the knife's evidence tag. And we also know that the detective murdered at the police department was killed in that very same evidence room. Indeed. There do seem to be too many connections for it to be a coincidence. I'll cooperate, but I can't reveal the name of the victim at the department, okay? Press it. If you're going to tell us a little, why not tell us everything? Well, case information is tricky stuff, see? You have to do everything properly. This is a wild, wild whim. There's not two detectives, there's only one detective. The one detective is Bruce Goodman. He was murdered in the police station. Because everyone was gathered there, he was then loaded into Edgeworth's car. Edgeworth went back from the police station to the prosecutor's office, but did not check the boot of his car. Lana, though, knew that something was up and tried to disguise who the actual killer was. Test the theory. Test the theory. Tell me the victim's ID number. It's the same as Bruce Goodman. Witness. What is it, Mr. Wright? You're graded like a schoolgirl on prom night. I don't know if that's appropriate. Detective Goodman's ID number is 5842189. This means what exactly? I'm fucking laying this out for you, Judge. The number the chief of police gave us was 5842189. The detective killed in the police department's evidence room was Bruce Goodman. What does our witness think about that? Oh, sharp as a tack. Right, sharp as a tack. But wait, Detective Goodman is our victim. He was killed at 5:15 in the underground parking lot. Yet a Detective Bruce Goodman was also killed at the police department, in the evidence room, at the exact same time. Your Honor, the police department has made a grave error in this case. Wait. I said wait. The oversight. A grave error. Mr. Edgeworth. They're yours. What? How dare? We informed you yesterday. I believe it was our Officer Meekins who brought you the news. Officer Meekins? Mr. Wright, where have we heard that name before? Wait, aha! Oh God, Meekins did deliver the information. I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I got your report, sir. According to Meekins, you didn't accept the report. Hard to believe. But your officer, he told me. He said the report had nothing to do with the Lana Sky incident. In any case, this is a serious error, a gross negligence of duty on your part, Wordy. But sir, you could have submitted that report this morning to the court as evidence. No such luck this time, Wordy. Or should I say, unworthy. What? Now what was the second rule of evidence law? Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And how is this rule relevant? Normally you submit a list of evidence to be used in court before the trial. This report wasn't on that list. So what does that mean? I couldn't submit this evidence until the connection was proven in court. The connection was just proven by Wright over there. Good job, Wright, my boy. I don't think there's ever been an error this serious in the history of this court. Really? Do you fucking know the trials you've proceeded over? Very well, court is adjourned. For realsies this time. Let's keep going. You know, I really don't think we should worry about the police department murder. I think we should, Emma. This situation calls for one thing, and that is luminol testing fluid. Luminol? Blood is sticky stuff, you know. You can't just wash it away with a little water. Even if you can't see it, it's still there. But wouldn't the police have already done those tests? Never trust anyone's eyes but your own, Mr. Wright. Just give it a try. Well, yeah, there's some blood. Don't you think there should be a little more blood? I definitely think so. I mean, look at all the blood in the sole of the victim's shoe. It is pretty strange. If they fought here, there'd have to have been more blood than this. I was wondering how that fluid of yours would react to a nice deli box. Miss Starr! You only trust your own eyes, Not bad, you two. So you were a detective, weren't you, Miss Starr? Yes, this was a long time ago. Well, 2 years ago. No matter how hardened the criminal, when they faced me, they coughed it up. Coughed it up? They confessed. They babbled like babies. You know, I may seem like a demon sometimes, but I can be an angel too. Ah, Jesus, I can be your devil. I can be your angel. Before long, they called me the cough-up queen. Oh, and here I thought someone had gotten food poisoning from your lunches. All because of that case. The SL9 incident. 2 years ago. It was the biggest case I'd ever handled. Police and the prosecutors were desperate for decisive evidence. It's the cowboy guy. They were all involved, but they didn't solve it. On the contrary, it was solved quite cleanly. The criminal was caught and executed. Executed? Yes, the criminal got what was coming to him. It doesn't get any cleaner than that. The only problem was, they never did find decisive evidence. Not a shred. What? But the criminal was executed, right? On the basis of the evidence of a sort. Made up evidence. What? You mean they executed someone with fabricated evidence? This is the nightmare scenario. Every detective involved with the case was dealt with. Some were demoted to patrolmen, others found themselves out of a job. And you were one of those. Myself and one other person you know well. Jake was particularly determined. And then it was over, and he was demoted. Wait, there was a fourth person there. Did you see that? Seems like you're serious about investigating this case. Yes. Then you should take this. A Salisbury steak lunch. I know a certain guy who might help you if you tempt him with this treat. I wonder whose office this is. There's like just a rope trap sitting by the elevator. That's gonna catch someone. That's really dangerous. Cacti are a lot like my sister, actually. How so? Encased in a cold, rigid shell with spines pointing in every direction. Just like her. Oh no. Not so sure I see the resemblance. It's more an attitude thing than a physical similarity. My sister is a cactus. The cactus is just covered in blood. Oh no, it is! Oh no! There's clearly blood around the spines here. This room's pretty messy. Someone must have tripped over something and planted their head straight through these spines. I think that might be more painful than being murdered. Oh no! That's a lot of blood that seeped on the cactus too. How'd they even manage that to trip on the top of it? That's quite tall. There's the killer. It was the cactus. Sir, that's what I'm saying. Me, a perpetrator. I'd say I was the perpetrator against, sir. That's what I'd say. Oh no! Oh, hi, greetings, sir. Wait, I know who you are. Officer Meekins. So you're the guard here at the detention center. No, sir. I'm not, sir. I'm a little lost patrolman like a little lost lamb, sir. Oh, I get it. You're here to deliver a report. No, sir. How should I say this? Wait, he isn't, is he? You, Officer Meekins. You didn't. Did you? Perpetrator Officer Meekins reporting, sir. He's the utter murderer. What? How can it be Meekins? I had some business out there, sir, and so I went to the evidence room, sir. The guard station in front of the room was empty, sir. That's when I saw him, sir. A suspicious person in the evidence room. A suspicious person, sir. A suspicious person. Ew, are you? What is wrong with this man? When the detective pointed that knife at me, I just hollered, sir. And the next thing I knew, I was unconscious. Next thing you knew, you were, huh? Then when I opened my eyes, I was alone in the evidence room, sir. All alone. Alone because Detective Goodman had disappeared. Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to show me his ID card. Well, that sounds pretty much by the book so far. That's right, sir. That's what I've been trying to tell you. So you asked Detective Goodman to show his ID card. What did he do? That's the thing. Suddenly he pointed a knife at me. Officer Meekins didn't know Detective Goodman. And the victim whom he met at the scene of the crime didn't show his ID card. In other words, we have no way of knowing if the victim was really the victim. And if this body just disappeared from the evidence room, we don't even know if anyone actually died. That's it, sir. That's what I want to say. That is, I did say something along those lines. Huh? But you still ended up here. They told me that it had to be him, sir. On that day, at that time. Detective Goodman was definitely in the evidence room. That's what they said. I'm sorry, really sorry, sir. I'll hand over my badge. I don't deserve it. No thanks. I have my own badge. I get good mileage out of it already. Hey, Mr. Wright, look who's standing at the chief of detective's desk. It's Police Chief Gant.
Are you sure this is all, you know what it means if there is anything missing?
Sir, I'm sure it's most likely totally perfect. We checked all of his drawers, lockers, garbage cans, bags, coat pockets, hats, under his seat cushion, on his computer monitor, inside his personal coffee machine, that spot behind the fridge, spot under the washing machine you can't get to easily. Check the cool side of his pillow.
I see you will, if anything does turn up, you can call me right away. Deal?
Yes, sir. We'll scour the place again, sir. Chief of Detectives looks a little flustered. What exactly did the Chief of Police want you to do? I'll see over there. That's Goodman's desk. He wanted me to check it for anything that might be a clue. Doesn't belong to Detective Goodman is still here. Of course not. Well, except for this. It's a lost item report, but it's only half complete. A lost item. Detective Goodman lose something. Dating is February 21st. Better make a note of that just in case. Goodman's lost item report added to the court record. Half-written document dated 21st of February. Examining it. Started to write in his ID, but then crossed it off, which is interesting. I was wondering if we could investigate the evidence room. Please say yes.
Now, Righto.
Actually, I'm sorry, I don't need to investigate after all.
Righto, please, do I look like a selfish man?
Huh?
Like, if anyone asked me, sir, can I borrow $50? I'd give them $50, no problem. So go ahead.
Okay, see you later.
And for you, here, you can borrow this.
Hey, this is a detective's ID card, isn't it?
That's a special card for guests, so don't lose it.
Yes, sir, it's an honor.
You just run along and do your best now. Later, folks.
Howdy, partners. Well, what's made my bambina's sky so gray? That card you got there on your chest. I bet that's better than a sheriff's badge in these parts. Yeehaw! Well, what are you standing there for? Get along, little doggies. Crime scene's awaiting. But the card reader's on again. Oh, we're here. I was wondering if I could ask you some questions. Alright, cowboy, but I got no mind to tangle with you hombres. You're busy then. Did I say that? I only said I didn't wish to speak with you. Would a steak dinner change your mind? That smell. Ah, reminds me of Texas. What's this? What, what's wrong? A filet steak lunch. I see. I see. I don't see. I wonder what it means. Take lunch given to Officer Marshall. Ask anything. Miss Starr told us something. He said that you were a detective until 2 years ago. It was always my dream to be a rawhide wrangler on the scene of a crime. That's all gone now. Like a drinking hole in a prairie fire. You're still investigating the SL9 incident with Miss Starr, aren't you? That was my case. It's all solved in the record books. It smells like a bad game of poker. Can't let it go. That's all there is to it. When you go into the evidence room, you need an ID card. Card reader by the door. Card reader leaves a record of every ID card that passes through. Hey, I've seen that somewhere before. Why is one of them just 7? See this? This is the victim's ID card. Ah, the one that was on the ground in the parking lot. The number on this is 5842189. Look, the 4th number. It's a perfect match. It was used at 5:14. Right before the stabbing. Okay. It was used before the stabbing. When the incident occurred, Detective Goodman was in the evidence room. But the call on that was at 5:18, and that was in the other building, which is half an hour by car. Okay, so how did the card get over? Okay, evidence room. Let's go in here. Gotta be something good in here. This is the evidence room. Really is kind of like a graveyard. Graveyards are supposed to have grass and trees. This feels more like a morgue. Nice try, Mr. Wright. You can't scare me. Was he locked inside? Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I wouldn't recommend going around smacking ghosts on the head, pal. So was it true what I heard? Oh, please, do I look like a selfish man? Investigate the room to your heart's desire. Oh, chief of police can't. We'll loan anyone $50. Even me. Oh, so that's what you were talking about. Actually, I was put in charge of the investigation for today. Just for today? Boss for a day. But if you're boss, why are you all alone? Where are your underlings? We're using yesterday's finds to prepare for tomorrow's trial. In other words, he got kicked out of the investigation again. Aw, poor Gumshoe. This place is more high-tech than you might think. Every locker is fixed so that only one detective can open it. Using their ID card. Well, that's the thing, pal. ID cards can be lost. Why, I'm on my 3rd card since entering the force already. It sounds like a lot. Yeah, but even I can't lose my own right hand. Right hand? Oh, you mean your fingerprint. Exactly, pal. The lock for each locker is coded with a fingerprint. On the other side of the handles is a sensor, and if the wrong person touches it, the zap, you get a shock. If that's what happened, my hand will be black and smoking every day. What if you just misremember which one's your locker? They all look fucking identical. That's pretty dangerous. Only the assigned detective's prints can unlock it. Indicator lamp lights up when it's open. Okay, that's gonna be important. Wow, somebody must have broken something big to make all these pieces. Detective Gumshoe, perhaps. There you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of hooligan. That's apparently from the case. The SL9 incident, pal. See the sticker on one of these pieces there. Another piece of SL9 evidence. You wanna try put it back together? Ah, good luck, pal. That's no job for amateurs. Well, I spent a good 3 hours on that before I had to give up. Presumably, because they all have 4 positions, if I just take each one, rotate it, and apply, something's gotta fit. There we go. That looks right. There we go. There is a missing piece. Doesn't look like the most stable kind of jar. Kind of understand how it got broken. Unstable jar. There's blood on it. This was used to kill someone. Someone left a glove here, but only one. Detective Gumshoe, maybe? There you go, pal. Making me out to be some kind of absent-minded detective. That's evidence from the new case. From the case, you know. I mean SL9. Does have a tag on it. Rubber glove. What's this? Blood. It's a little warm, but there's definitely a handprint here. It looks like someone tried to wipe it off. Mr. Wright, what if there are other bloodstains left in the room? We could use our testing fluid to check it out. That must have been one massive pool of blood. Never seen anything like it. Pale blue blood. Maybe Detective Goodman was actually an alien. This proves that something really happened in front of this locker. Extraterrestrial life. I'll make a note of it on the floor plans. We got it. Why am I getting a reaction here? There's no reason for the murderer to touch this spot if he fled out the door. This just might be something significant. Well, I'd better jot this down on the floor plans. Detective Goodman's note, and that switchblade knife. I bet Edgeworth was the most surprised of anyone. Because of the SL9 connection. That was Mr. Edgeworth's first big case, you know, 2 years ago. It was the first time the world knew Edgeworth was a man to be feared. But why would evidence from that case turn up now? Guess it's not over, pal. Maybe there are some loose ends left on that case. That was a bloody violent case. Violent? So it was a murder. A serial killing. But the killer made a mistake and Mr. Edgeworth built his case around that to nab him. And this was 2 years ago. That put Mr. Edgeworth right in the spotlight. And started the rumor mill. Rumors about forged evidence. This is the ID card record of the people who came in here on the day of the stabbing. Ah, I heard the rumors. So it was Goodman who came in here at the time of the murder. Whoa! What is it? The second number on this list belongs to Mr. Edgeworth. What? This was before there was a crime. Was he just investigating a different case? Edgeworth's just a man who's just wrapped in a mysterious past. Like, the L6 incident from like 20 years ago. This case from 2 years ago. The next game, he's gonna talk about the case from 5 years ago. Game after that, will be the one from 10 years. Yeah, Edgeworth, we got something that's kind of incriminating and might work against you here. Oh. What's this? A record of ID card usage? Edgeworth, you went to the evidence room that day, didn't you? Just before the incident occurred, no less. Yes, that's true. I was asked to go, by Chief Gant, no less. The Chief of Police? He wanted evidence for a case that wrapped up half a year ago. He told me he wanted to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. But it was solved, right? It would have to be if the evidence was already filed. Chief is never one to explain himself. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. Can I ask what kind of case it was? I can't say. It really has nothing to do with the current case. I'm curious about this other case. Better make a note of it. Screwdriver. That is the third case. Oh, this is gonna be the fucking case that was like Edgeworth. This is Edgeworth's case from a year and a half ago that he doesn't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about that case, Phoenix. By the way, Emma, the chief prosecutor wanted to know something. My sister, what? If you were still studying forensic science. Yes, of course. Why, just today, Mr. Wright and I were using this. Luminol testing fluid, Well then. You might have use for this. Aluminium powder for taking fingerprints? Oh, don't tell me I'm gonna have to fucking go back and touch everything again. Oh no. Here, take your powder and these fingerprint files for everyone involved. Thanks. Right, let's get started. First, choose a finger. I mean, it's gotta be this one. You just pour the powder on thick and blow away the extra. Those are the basic fingerprinting, Mr. Wright. Guess I better give it a try. Can I just make the screen like pure white? Don't go into the light, Phoenix. And blow. It worked! The person who left his handprint must have worn gloves. Don't tell me we've been wasting our time here. Hey, calm down, that's just the way it goes sometimes with scientific investigations. Yes, for you see, the fingerprints were burnt off in the chemical factory. Von Karma, how could you? It was Yanni Yogi! The area with the blood was wiped away, right? We only ended up finding it using chemical means. Any prints in that area will have been wiped away too. Great. For you see, the fact
factory where you got the spray was the same chemical factory. It wiped away the fingerprints, just as I devised.
So this one's gonna be wiped away. Some of the blood's gone, so just like here? Okay, that's pretty clear. That's pretty clear. What do we think it is? I knew he was useless at his job. Hey, these fingerprints, whose are they? Whose? Is it someone I know? It's Officer Marshall. Huh? Officer Jake Marshall? Careful, he can hear us, Emma. The luminol reaction. The blood and the fingerprints are in the same place. Oh. So we have Jake Marshall's fingerprints on a white bloodstain. I guess this is what you'd call decisive evidence. I don't believe it. It was the Texan all along. It was probably him accidentally cutting himself on the knife. Ah! Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lada Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is... I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? I've just ignored the court proceedings at this point. We're supposed to introduce the case before we get into the details, but, I just want to press on today. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? Oh boy. Sir, it was me, sir. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You've got to believe me, sir. Actually, what we'd like to hear from you is, sir, I'm what you would call part of the younger generation, sir. A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend. I'm one of those millennials you hear so much about, sir. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me, sir. He's too young. I don't understand TikTok. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir. The Blue Badger? Yes, sir. The lovely police mascot created by the chief of detectives, sir. Oh no, this thing again. I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir. After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room. In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct? Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck. So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right? Yes, sir. It's 4989596. That's my number, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. And the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down. I see. So it was during that second time, when? Yes, sir. That was when I spotted the man on the security screen. So you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you? It was a knife, sir. A knife. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. Like an octopus? That's how I got this gash on my hand. When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood. And then, the next thing I knew. Yes? I woke up crying tears of pain. That's nice. It's nice that you recovered, that is. That's nice that you suffered. Well, gosh, I hope I gave you a good snack around the noggin. I like to see my officers in agonizing circumstances. Take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell. Why is none of the evidence ever submitted to, either the defense or the prosecutor before the fucking case starts? I have the surprise mystery tape, sir. I kept this in the box. Hello? He goes for a stroll. He's opening the locker. That glove fell out, immediately. There goes Meekins. Oh my god! They're just collapsed on the ground. I think Meekins is dead. Yeah. Edgeworth is seething with rage. Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing here. You're probably wondering how Meekins got into this mess. Well, let's rewind a moment and explain the story up until this part. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings? Wait, what? Well, I know what you're probably thinking. How do we handle our emotions right now? His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. Zooms back. Meekins is down on the ground. The locker's left. That locker on the end was opened after that. You can see it when even the video loops. Like the bit of paper stuck in the door. It jumps. The locker was accessed. The man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such a contradiction. Pause it. There it is. Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Wright, but you seem to have forgotten the point of this exercise. The point? What you are looking for is one thing and one thing only. Something that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman. Oh yeah. Ooh, I almost walked right into the defense's trap. What? Rats, I need to slow down and tackle these things one piece at a time. Now what do I do? What? This shows that someone else was in the room. I think I get it. It's already open. Here, notice the light. What's this? It's already lit. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Did he just choke himself? I found this near the locker, a thin rubber glove. But we can't be sure that was in the victim's locker. Please watch the video again and point to me the part where the glove falls out of the locker. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. It was me, Your Honor. Is this not so, Officer Meekins? Sir, it would appear so, sir. So are we to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman? The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. According to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here. So it is, Your Honor. Not that prosecutor again. Hey, maybe he's behind all this. Being a prosecutor, he can hide the evidence. Mommy, is that man in blue a murderer? Shh, don't stare at him. Got the wrong color, kid. Wait one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. A lost item report. It's only half completed. But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess, you believe this something has to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Order! 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 Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo. So the real crime could only take at one location. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. The murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness. Observe the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Have to object. One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. I love how they so openly refer to this as like traps in court. I almost fell for your trap card. But now I would like to activate my quick play spell card, Edgeworth. Go, Mystical Space Typhoon! This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh? Whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room.
Why are you an option? He's the victim who's dead. Here we go. Mr. Wright, I'm not even gonna bother asking you why. I've never seen a more obvious stall tactic in my entire career. He doesn't even entertain it.
Jake Marshall. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? Can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare.
You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty.
And to top it all off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals.
Jeez. Detective Gumshoe, like, a man is dead.
So, have you brought what I asked?
Oh ho. You mean this, right?
My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request.
My name? Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy.
Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident. Is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago. The rest of the world knew it as... the Joe Dark killings. Joe Dark. No, Lana. That's over with. No. Emma, wait.
He ran away. They were all involved in this previous case. Gotta get to the bottom of it, and no one will tell us what happened in the case. Absolutely no one.
Witness, please state your name and occupation.
Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out.
Howling wind. Just sounds like he's farting a lot.
My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make the rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at the street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail.
There is like a helicopter that I think is parking on top of me. I don't know if you've heard that.
They found you. Oh shit! They're here. And it was I that tipped off your address, RT. I let them know where to track you down.
Von Karma, no!
Von Karma doxes someone, the musical. Von Karma in a musical. Could you imagine? I am not throwing away my shot. No, I'm not throwing away my shot. My name is Alexander Hamilton, and there's a million things I haven't done. But just you wait. Just you wait.
Just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. But that's a blatant lie. We have like his bloody handprint. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint.
Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, I make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints will be in there.
I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood.
Witness, what is the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene.
The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall,
I got a lot of tomato sauce on my hand. As I was saying, I just went to get my favorite spaghetti and I went earlier and I made an awful mess. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves?
See, I had nothing to do with it. The blood stain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated, despite the fingerprint being related to the blood stain. Okay. Unrelated. They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast while the other's a type of murder. He's right, although seemingly alike. What? Alright, okay, hang on, I can't let this one slide. Alright, judge. There is 2 instances of cereal and cereal. Alright? The judge is making a very audacious claim here. They're seemingly alike. Now, he is correct that they're totally different, but I ask what the point of comparison is here. Because I'm really not seeing it. He's being very bold at the end. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? But you were in it. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Yes, I can. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Oh, we gotta watch fucking Meekins get slammed into the locker again. He's been having such a rough day. Here he goes. Not having a good time. Once more for good measure. We got it. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Just sum up what you would have to say in 8 words or less. You can clearly be seen in this video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He did it! Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out it. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What is the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. Marshall, that's still... No, he couldn't have done that. This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really just doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You said I opened that locker. Now prove it. That's how the lockers work. You haven't thought this true, Officer Marshall. A fingerprint sensor? What kind of crazy talk is this? So, Sheriff, what do you have to say? In 8 words or less. Let me just eat a piece of jerky real quick. I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Oh my god, this fucking judge! I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? I'm gonna just eat some more jerky real quick. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked. And the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that. So you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Did we get him? I had to do it that day. I just couldn't stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Well, there was a lot of spaghetti sauce at the pasta place I told you about. I brought some of it back with me as a snack, and I just made an awful mess on the floor. When Meekins assaulted me, I dropped my tomato sauce, and It just spilt everywhere. Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. You managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. So you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth? Where's that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Let me check the SL9. What? I haven't actually read this. Joe Dark, serial murder, sentence, death. Neil Marshall. Oh shit. Oh shit, he's killed someone in his family. Wait, and they were witnesses to it too. Detective investigators Damon Gant, Lana Sky, Bruce Goodman, investigators Jake Marshall, Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? You must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. Well, what's his relation to you? I don't understand the connection. Please, spell it out for me. It was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, the then Deputy Chief of Police. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Oh, because I remember looking at this picture and I was thinking, who's this Fort guy? It was the brothers. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Sky. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Starr is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. One word. Poorly chosen word, Phoenix. Oh shit, she's back! Your Honor, wait! Emma! The defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, Wright? Mr. Wright! Are you this girl's guardian? I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found in Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So did you find something? No. Well, this court finds the defendant guilty. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. The blue badger's in the way of the locker. How did the handprint get there? Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The blue badger is not here. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? That's right. So long as the blue badger is dancing here, it will be impossible They'll place a handprint at this spot in the locker, so that must mean this blood mark was left there before the blue badger was brought in. Just one moment. I would not allow such far-fetched boulder dash in my court. Good one, Judge. That's a real good one there. You know, you really get me sometimes. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Oh! 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 Miles Edgeworth! Just what have you done? I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. There's only one other card number remaining. Series of 7s. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 777. The ID number 777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence. No. No! Oh, there's uproar. Order! 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 Lana's remarks caused such a stir, the chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. He couldn't keep order? Wait, what? What happened? Was it just a riot? Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. What happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago. You must have been 14. I reckon if you're 14, you can draw a fairly decent picture if requested to in court. I'd like to think so. Like, we're not talking like crayon stick figures to describe the scene. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. Why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective's office and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was the detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective. I better have another talk with her. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down and fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run into the scene, Lana? It appears so. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious.
Hang on. The fucking scene of the crime. I can't believe I just glossed over that. There is a man with a knife in his back, lying on top of the other guy, who's also unconscious. How the fuck was he stabbed, but also knocked to the ground? Did he stabbed him in the back, but used so much force that his lifeless body fell on top of him and he just couldn't get up and fell asleep? Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. It's like, we're gonna go back 2 years later. It's like, my god, all these bloodstains all over the floor. The knife is still on the sofa. The window is broken. Quickly, look out the window. What can we see? Oh my god. Grossberg is leaving the scene of the crime as we speak. So everyone else got punished after that trial ended, but Goodman didn't. So maybe Gant had him taken care of and had him killed because he wanted to keep job security. But then, to cover his tracks, because he knew Goodman was after him, he like blackmailed Lana to frame her for the murder. I think that's the case. Okay, so Gant is our top suspect now. Absolutely our top suspect. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Well, that's surprisingly easy. No, you're not allowed in the chief's office, because he has important evidence or cases pertaining to trials. Yeah, sure, just he's not home. Make yourself cozy. Here's the key to his drawer. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right, you can't go. Okay, thanks, Emma. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. We're just going anyway. Yeah, no, this guy's evil. Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Back. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. I never could remember where C was. Huh? Chief Gant! Put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, righto, have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Miss Marshall's conduct and Lana's provocative statement. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. That's the vase! Oh shit, that's the vase! Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it though. Okay, Gant team picture. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so leave. Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it further. All the same, we'd like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it any further. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Maybe Gumshoe can help us. Hey, pal. Oh, here he is. Detective Gumshoe. Aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take the serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So, it was an accident. An accident, yes. But it transformed him into an animal. An animal? He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed a lady who saw the second crime. A kid walked by just then, so he killed him too. Then when he was burying the bodies, a jogger came up to the scene and was killed as well. Jesus fucking Christ! The jogger's friend went looking for him. So, he killed them too. A man saw that killing and ran into the nearest shopping center. So, he went on into the shopping center himself and he killed everyone in there as well. There was a flight passing overhead that seemed to witness the crime. So he took to a helicopter, boarded the plane, and killed everyone on board.
It sounds like he was playing a game of Hitman and it went wrong. Like, he got the first guy and someone saw it, so he has to kill them. Someone saw that, so he's gotta kill them. And before you know it, like, the entire town is just turning on him.
This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at. Plus, he had his fingerprints on it, too.
But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right?
That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. Take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found.
It was lodged in my shoulder this entire time.
The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it. Inside his own body. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant. Not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered.
The chief's out now and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around if that's okay.
Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door.
What, really?
But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust.
Breach of trust?
Simply put, I'd be canned.
Oh,
sorry, pal.
I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind.
What would make him change his mind?
What are you doing here?
You sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor.
I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this.
What do you mean?
The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long.
Only half as long as most lists. That is odd.
This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding. It's a little different than yours. That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design.
A story? That's interesting. Would you mind telling it to us?
It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day, he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon.
Wait a minute.
Those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and the broken knife symbolize... Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items.
That's funny. If that's so, then why are you only given a shield?
You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished.
Chief Gant.
Wait. Hang on. The halberd was removed. I think it's more likely that the halberd on the shield was used. It was broken off. So this could just be falsified evidence. Look at you there. You think you're so fucking smart, Gant. We know it was you. Wait, we're so focused on the fucking trophy. There's a spear here. Wait a minute. That seems a bit more plausible.
There's a piece of paper under the desk. I wonder what he was writing before.
Come on, Mr. Wright. Let's take a look.
Are you crazy? Edward is sitting right there.
Just distract him. I'll check it out.
Hey, Edward.
Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no! He's fallen to the ground! Hold on. First, let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet.
He didn't even look.
What? Letter of If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says letter of resignation. I'm tired, Wright. I feel as if something inside me has died. Mr. Edward, none of it is your fault.
It's letter of resignation. I wonder if I can use it for anything.
Wait, presumably Edward still needs this. We just stealing this?
No way.
Mr. Edward can't be serious.
Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they've pushed him this far.
Mr. Edward really feels responsible.
When I first met him, I thought he was cold as ice too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we betrayed him.
The detective. That's it. I've made up my mind. But... Here. Take my ID card. We can't do that. If someone found out, they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? So at least let me do this. For Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Alright, detective. Thank you. Here goes, Mr. Wright. We're back inside. We're in. If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a goner. If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. God! Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Ah, Detective Gumshoe! What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came too. If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card? This looks like a list of evidence. A list of evidence? In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this, though. Hey, look at the case name. Huh? SO9 incident? I wonder what this is doing here. Hold on, detective. What did you just say? There's 2 halves. Most lists run twice as long. There was missing evidence. Wait, what? I wonder what this is. It looks like someone drew some kind of sketch here. What is it? Did you find something? I can't make it out. I better keep quiet about it for now. Why? Like, I think it's Emma's drawn, but why the fuck is it on the back of the evidence list? This is a safe. This is a safe, isn't it? Safe. That word is ripe with intrigue. Okay, if you say so. A 7-digit number. I think I might just know what it is. The code's not just gonna be... You need better security. You need way better security for your safe. Like, that's the same as your ID. That is, like, accessible in records in other parts of the station. Why is that the code for your safe? This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number. Say, anyone care to look inside? Oh! A shard from a broken cup. It's the missing piece. There's something else in here, too. What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth. Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case. I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here. Right, now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. How are these 2 items related to the SL9 incident? Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case? That's right. One of the shards had an SL9 incident sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any bells? You know, that fragment we just found. Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. There we go. Seems straightforward enough. The question is, right? If this is incriminating evidence against Chief Gant, why did he keep it in his safe and not just, like, crush it in a cube or something? Just burn it. Yeah, just set it on fire. Emma. Wait, what? Why would this be kept? Why would he keep a handprint from Emma all this time? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints were they? Huh? Oh, it seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints. Hey, you, over here. What's going on here? What are that kid's prints doing inside the chief's safe? Piece of cloth folded and added to the court record. Why would he keep Emma's prints? I don't understand that at all. Emma's not the killer. Is she? Well, was I any help? Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. That's not very kind, is it? In other words, would it? If it wasn't for his ID card, he wouldn't have been useless. Isn't that right? You in the coat. Chief Gant? Now then. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask you all to leave. Yes, sir. Sorry. Oh, you in the coat? Me, sir? Drop off your ID on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore.
But sir.
Now get out.
Yes, sir. Gumshoe, no!
Wait, you're the one with the spiky hair. Don't go yet.
Me, sir.
I like a word with you.
But sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet.
You're with the spiky hair. You're free to go.
Mr. Wright.
Don't leave Emma alone with him. Don't leave Phoenix. You have one job here. Stranger danger.
I see. So my sister is dead now.
It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, who may I ask is this person you're speaking of? The one I am supposedly so frightened of. What is this person's name? He's going to haunt you from beyond the grave. The person whom you fear is this. To be honest, there's someone a bit scarier. Damon Gant. Well, Miss Skye, if you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me your proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case. I just found this in the safe in the Chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? The pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. Aye. The person concealing the evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised. I cannot disobey the Chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate. Or perhaps I should say, follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. You were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. The murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in. I couldn't just leave that knife in him. So I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That would be Edgeworth's knife. That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. Seems I got blood in the victim's shoe as well. And then she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. Miss Starr, huh? Right, then I called my sister. Tell her what had happened, and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma? I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Here we go. It's time. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth. Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, Wright? Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is where the prosecution puts forward its opening statement. Huh? But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant. Lana, that is to say the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. Oh shit! You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana! Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please.
It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. We're gonna cue for dramatic pause here, folks. You all know the deal at this point. Who's it gonna be that takes the stand next? Maybe I'll actually cast a verdict someday that's legally binding. But today is not that day. Here we go. Whoa! Who could have foreseen this?
The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature.
Come now, Wordy. I understand this is a difficult time for you. Why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut?
As his first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. I was waiting at my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest, and you told Detective Goodman what you saw. Yes, but at the time the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture.
Emma, is this your picture? Behold, is this the card you were thinking of?
The Tree of Diamonds! Phoenix, how'd you do that? That's the playing card I had in my mind.
And if you look behind your ear,
a penny!
2 men appear to be wrestling here.
What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list?
It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These 2 lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart to form each other.
So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What?
Oh shit. Order! Well, Miss Skye, why'd you draw your picture on the back of such an important list?
Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor.
Wait a minute.
Your Honor.
Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head.
If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list.
What?
Edgeworth, in the 2 years you had that piece of paper, have you ever turned it over, even once?
But hang on, we could see him holding it. It was blank.
Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. Where the fuck is it, Edgeworth? Wait, no. No, there's no way.
But Gumshoe made this. The Badger did it.
Clearly this act of vandalism was the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper.
Very well, witness. Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Why is the mascot there?
The flash of lightning was so bright all I could see were shadows. After that I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction.
What? But I still remember it just like it was yesterday.
The only other thing I was thinking, right? Because they were saying that it's like the knife needed the tip. This is like a more square edge. But I think it's the fact that they're facing the front. I think it's this part here. I don't see what's so strange about that.
That's because the drawing stinks, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, how could you? The act of making an innocent girl cry should warrant the death penalty.
Oh shit!
hard arm of the law. Is it really the fact that this is supposed to be more of a knife? But like, it looks like he's killed him with like a 30-centimeter ruler. All right. The contradiction, of course, lies here. It actually is. It's just because so it's like technicality in the drawing. The silhouette looks like a ruler and not a knife. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. The tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. This broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. Shit. Here's the real murder weapon. Wait, no, he's saying it again. Is that not it? Oh, is this? This might be the spear. The answer lies in the past. 2 years ago in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. Aha! What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award prosecutor Marshall is holding. Wait, no, it is the trophy. But I was right. As an award, he was given this broken shield and a knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors' award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Wait, what? Hang on, we've leaped in the logic. What's going on? Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back? I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the Blue Badger. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? Wait, was he dancing? Is that being established at this point in time that the Blue Badger was not only present, but also dancing at the scene of the crime? What? This is a horror game. It is the defense's belief that on the fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the Blue Badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. What is it the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious Blue Badger look-alike. The vase? Maybe? The vase is the only thing that is even remotely comparable. But it very much depends on how the shadow was being cast. It is! The mysterious Blue Badger was in fact this. We gotta line it up. Trying to just get it right. Hang on. Okay, we're almost there. I can kind of see it. We got it. Well, is this a miracle or what? What's your point? It's a fair point, yeah. What does this show? The location of the jar is shown in the picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Oh, it does actually show that, yeah. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office. I finally figured it out. This is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. And tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have to have been the impact that the man made when he was knocked into the wall. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? Ah! The suit of armor! holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall. I actually didn't see this coming. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! Oh, she's not taking it well. Gant must have known what happened, so he used it as a position of blackmail and held it over Lana all that time. He must have known that this was an accident, but also kind of twisted because then he's using that as blackmail. Oh, there's so much to unpack here. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life, in one manner or another. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind. Is it in the evidence? Is this somehow a message? I don't know. Present it. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? I want to fire you so much. Like, the next trial, I'm gonna be accused of murder. Of this judge. And I'll be found guilty. Oh no, I can kinda see it. Oh no! Wait, there might be another arrangement, hang on. Oh my god!
And I would have gotten away with it too, if it weren't for that meddling bloodstain on the vase.
Emma. This is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind.
See, Wordy, can't say I didn't blame you.
Chief Gant!
You understand the implications of what you've done. 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in this case, were you not? Yes, Wordy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction.
They might have sent an innocent man to his death. How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order! 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 Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give you this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law. I'm gonna have to consult the textbook on how to be a lawyer. Surely I should know this shit already. She said, if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book. Him. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Phoenix got his badge from a cereal box. That makes it all the more amazing though, doesn't it? Because he's so proud of it. Normally this is where the prosecution calls for the witness. But, you think I may have manipulated the witnesses? I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking, and that being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Can you do this in court? I propose an offer. We're going to switch sides a while. Spice things up. The banker is calling. Oh, we seem to have an offer on the phone. Hello? Oh, it's the banker calling in. He offers you £20,000 to rest your case now, or you can keep going. Offer stands, 20K. What do you think, Phoenix? Well, I think box 12 might have the murderer in, so I think maybe we should continue this trial. I don't know if I'm ready to call it just yet, but it is a lot of money from the banker. Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant?
You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal.
Gant's gonna take out a fucking gun.
Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to.
What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. What if he just says no and walks away scot-free?
When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery.
So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt, but moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. That's why I had 2 pieces of evidence hidden in my private safe.
You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up.
Explain yourself.
Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. These articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in this illegal investigation.
Oh, me? What do you mean, you? That's right, I'm pulling the reverse Uno card at this point in my testimony. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way.
Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all of this.
Oh, I wasn't aware. What is that benefit?
That will be, of course, the position you have. Chief of Police. Oh! The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive.
Ha ha ha! Oh, that's a good one. Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next Chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little.
Is that true, Edward?
Yes.
He was going to be made Chief anyway. I think maybe he did help out Lana originally, who kind of framed the crime differently. But then he used that position to blackmail and then eliminate Goodman, who was investigating the entire case again. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake. But if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye! The defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for the Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. Essentially, you would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? First of all, this insinuates there's something wrong with being a puppeteer. Second of all, he's completely misunderstood the situation.
Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying I've done such a thing?
Lana is keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course, I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The Chief Prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 777777.
Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number.
It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean? I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime.
What about it? I'm Chief of Police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want.
Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone?
I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. I like to take a shit in the evidence room.
Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he?
Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days.
You hadn't seen him in days? Chief Gant, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. can only be submitted to the chief of police. I'm staring him right in the face. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filed out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. You could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No! Did he get struck by lightning? You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How do you manage to move it there? Oh, it's a screwdriver! The screwdriver makes more sense because Chief Gant requested it. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? What does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special. Police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. So he's just gonna say, no thanks, I'm off. I gotta go get lunch. Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away. Don't make me laugh, Wordy. You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show you proof and get it over with. If Lana would testify, this would be a lot easier. I'm just saying. This is what we call in the point-and-click adventure games where you use every object on the obstacle until something sticks. Help me out, chat. Do I have the item? No. Fuck you, game. No. That's frustrating. Seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Uji, I'll leave the rest to you. He's getting away. Lady Luck, huh? Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Yes, Your Honor, the defense calls for... Is she gonna even talk to us? We could have done this from the first fucking trial. Very well, the court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now Hold on. Huh? Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen, good Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but you accept Mr. Wright's claims. There will be terrible consequences. I'm not guilty of blackmail, by the way, and there's no evidence of blackmail you can possibly find. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything, too? Emma, are you okay? Oh, she's finally back. I forgot. Yeah, she got, like, detained, didn't she? To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me. Emma, why don't you wait here? No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. Okay, the final trial. Gant and the fabrication. Let's go. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found out Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, then moved the body. Oh, okay, right, so she's being really specific with this now. You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's wound, and then you moved the body? But why? Why would you do that? I knew the tip of the weapon found buried in his body would be all the proof we needed. The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. Okay, so we've got another hook. Pieces of the jar, you mean? Yes, that wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. When you first found the body, the jar was already. Of course, it had been shattered to pieces. That's an important detail. Neil Marshall was dead and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle. It was broken during the struggle. So how was Emma's name written on it? In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died. He couldn't have written Emma's name on the shattered jar. Miss Skye, I believe this jar conceals the truth even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. Well, couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece? I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Ha! Can you believe that? Judge, this is a critical moment in the trial. Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that! There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar? He's a good lad and he's helped me find my dentures before. The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for more 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? No! Why am I taking this so hard? I'm supposed to be impartial in this court of law. Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. Well, why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, Spare and Emma. And therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the chief's puppet. Grossberg got there first. Lana may be right after all. What do you mean, right? If evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will if you tell the truth. I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled in that suit of armor's sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What, to me? It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I entered it. I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright? She really does have faith in you. It's in the book! Wait, did I ever open the book? Your Honor, I think it's in here somewhere. Oh my god, it's the bird. Oh, can I start by opening the book? Oh! Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. Hello? What, now you want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two of my defense. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. Oh shit, Edgeworth's out for blood.
Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements.
What do you mean?
The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence.
Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence?
No, I don't, but someone does.
Someone?
So what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death.
If Emma was unconscious, he could have set this up in such a way where he just like took her hand or something, popped it on the clot, and that's why he kept it to have the leverage. It's still possible. I have to follow the trail. It's a piece of leather clot. Yes, it most likely was cut from the victim's vest near his chest. What's this? There's a big handprint on it.
Surely it must have been left in the cloth by whoever shoved the victim into the sword.
What? Whose fingerprints are on this? They're Miss Sky's. Miss Emma Sky's. What? They're mine. So I really did do it.
See, I told you it was conclusive.
By presenting that evidence, you tied Emma Sky to Neil Marshall's death. No. It appears we have our killer. No. No! Everything hinged on that point. In the end, Lana alone was found guilty on all— Wait, whoa, 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 whoa! What? Wow, I can't believe Emma did it. What a turn at the end. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time.
What? You lie.
Chief Kent!
You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside.
The conclusive evidence. What are you talking about, Chief Kent?
Can't figure it out? Take a good look at this picture.
Oh, he fucking made a copy. See, the victim's vest knows anything odd about the chest area. It looks like part of it's been cut for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence.
Well, can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened.
Oh shit, no, he's got a testimony.
I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana if I made it look like the blame lay with her sister. That's when she saw the scene, she would ask for my aid.
So you assisted Miss Sky?
I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room.
And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted.
I tampered with the crime scene.
I had 2 pieces of evidence. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe? But why?
For insurance, of course.
Insurance?
I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for the murder that girl committed.
But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too?
Ha ha ha. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance.
You mean that piece of cloth?
Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it.
So you admit to it then, Chief Kent? That you were hiding the clot you cut off the victim's vest in your safe?
Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest.
Oh, yes. Last you finally brought it out into the open.
There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Emma Sky! What? They're mine. I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me?
You're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me.
So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death.
Aren't you gonna tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer?
Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up.
Oh, and what's that?
Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. Wait, was it cut before? Because of the blood? Oh shit! This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out. It's hard to make out with all the blood in his vest though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs no doubt were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. There's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time.
No, this is nonsense.
Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Skye? Picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the armor's sword. Said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar that he then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago. That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of cloth from the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer.
Yeah!
It's over. Objection?
Righto, you almost had me. Legal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Uji.
The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. My high school textbook I brought from when I trained to be a lawyer. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? I admit I refused to present it at one point.
Aha, so the evidence is illegal.
No, it isn't, Mr. Gant.
Huh?
It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't? Your Honor, my final piece of evidence that proves that this clot is legal is because, Your Honor, I am a lawyer! Well, it seems your very existence is illegal. You've lost it, right? All this time I thought you were using the chief's knowledge of the law to trap him. It looks like you're the one who got trapped. I guess I should just stick to what I'm used to. No, that's not what happens. Hang on. Okay, let's go back. I don't know why I need to present my high school textbook to validate this. They should know the law. He's the judge. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence Law 101 for dummies. You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the clot and the SL9 incident.
What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and...
Sorry, but can you recall, when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. No. He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer, and there's only one person that could be. Damon Gant. The killer was you. No. If my neighbors heard that, they're probably really freaked out. Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. It's not too late. I'm going to hand all of this over to Marshall.
Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me. I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it. That accursed knife. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Why do you stand in court? Me. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me. We're the same. We're not so different, you and I. We got a lot in common. You'll see what it really takes to bring 'em down once you go try do it alone. I'm your future, Edgeworth. I am what you'll become. Well, it looks like it's time to say goodbye. That's all, folks.
In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. You in particular, Judge, you fucking need it. Miss Sky. Yes, Your Honor. You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you were still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Sure, all the prison sentences are unquestionably hanging over me now. I'll probably spend the rest of my life behind bars, but, you know, the metaphysical chains are definitely no longer constraining me. This court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, not guilty. That is all. This court is adjourned. I hope I never see him again. I thought you'd like to see someone. Lana! She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. I'm not even employed by the police department anymore. How I got hold of her in custody is anyone's guess, really. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy. Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Ah, bless. Thank you, both, for all you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Where was he hiding? I just came to say, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right, well, I'll be going now. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth! Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. You despise criminals, I can feel it, you and me. We're the same, you and I. Who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gann, your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. That may be true. But think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright. Show him what Lana's talking about. Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own.
Do it, Daniel, do it. You know you want to present the badge again. You know we want to do it one last time.
Von Karma, no! I gotta break free from your shackles. Edgeworth's moving on and so must I.
You can never escape me, Daniel. I will always linger, for it was I that influenced you with the badge.
Von Karma, no! That's the picture I drew. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list, and I had the other. The part we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth! If you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court.
I'll see you in court, Edgeworth.
That sounds like he's going to jail. That sounds like he's gonna commit a crime. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation? It's the first book I ever bought. Studied it well. Thanks, sis. I will. I think it's time. I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Oh no, he actually busted him out. He still is fired. I was joking about it. Mr. Wright here's the one who will be footing the bill. Huh? Huh? What, do you think I can afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Huh? Huh? Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Come on, guys. Let's go. That's it. That was a hell of a final case. My god. I'm gonna miss Von Karma. It might not be a while before we encounter him again. I don't know if he's gonna make another appearance.
It was I that must leave you now. I orchestrated this emotional attachment this entire time, only to betray you in the final moments. Now you will never hear me again.
Von Karma! You bastard!